Alex Mullen to make it 3-1 in the grand final. Puts in the penalty and wins the grand final for Campbelltown City.
No one attacks it, comes back off the Fernandez. It's the goal! It's time! Oh! And their talisman's got another one! Harry City back quick. Jake King, what a shot! My goodness me! Oh, can't teach that sort of stuff. Sends it in, keeps it low, and it's gone in! It's gone in! Adelaide Uni have scored in time added. Tries to get under control, and the shot from Tolland! Salisbury into a 2-0 up!
Still Butler with another chance, it's 2-1 to Playford! Persistence has paid off for Playford!
Long touch the keeper, puts it into the bottom corner. Beach gives him a shoulder after that as well. He's lost his clean sheet, and he's lost his head with a red card! David, this is massive!
To make the girls sing and the geezers too, yeah, we're doing this thing.
Hello and welcome to episode 26 of One Game at a Time. It is Wednesday, the 13th of August, already nearly at the end of the season. I'm Seb O'Neill, and as always, joined by, actually not as always, because it's been a bit on and off the past few weeks, my three co-hosts were all back together again for once. But my question for this week is, I thought about it, it's a little bit morbid, but what would your last meal on earth be, Alessio Carocci? We'll start with you.
It's good to be back this week, Seb. I've been missing for a couple of weeks, so I'm happy to be on the pod again. I think mine will have to be a burger and chips. I love my hamburgers, and I've probably tried everyone in Adelaide by now, but yeah, I reckon it'd be a hamburger and chips for me.
Very, very good choice. And David Grant, what about you?
Could you not just have said your favourite meal? My favourite meal would probably be cottage pie as opposed to shepherd's pie. Shepherd's pie is made from mutton, right? And a cottage pie is made from beef. So my granny used to make really nice cottage pie, and that would be my favourite, I think.
Very, very nice. And finally, Mark Talbot. I didn't do you first for once, so I hope you...
I know, yes. Thank you. I'd have to say probably I'd go with a pizza and a pasta.
Both?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not? I'm hungry. It's the last one. I might as well force everything down.
Is that a main and a side, the both of them? Or
No, just a big pizza and a main meal of pasta. And a good pasta.
Deep fried?
That'll be good.
Deep fried pizza?
Yeah, nah.
yeah, with a Mars bar as well. All right. We'll go on with our picks of the week. Excuse me. I'll go first for once because it's actually one that I wasn't going to do, but was brought up in conversation today. Goal of the week came out, and there was a controversial non-inclusion from Salisbury United. So I want to get your guys' opinion on whether or not this should have been included. It was a goal. It was the equaliser for Salisbury United, scored by Jacob Folk. I had conversations with the powers that be at the team at Goal of the Week. It was deemed not good enough, apparently. What do we think?
Well, I actually missed the goals of the week this week, so I'm actually not sure what it was up against. But if that wasn't in the top, how many did they pick? 4?
Yes, there were 4.
Yeah.
So there are 4 goals that were judged better than that.
Apparently. Do you agree or disagree?
I haven't seen the other 4, if I'm honest, but they must be further out when they hit them or something, or.
Well, the little birdie at the team at Goal of the Week said, apparently the keeper should have done better, Mark. Apparently the keeper made a meal of it.
Me and again.
What do you think as a goalkeeper?
He got both hands to it. If he'd gone one-handed, he probably would have got there. But it's still well hit. I'm not going to deny that, so I'm not going to lay blame to the keeper entirely. But so he's hit it well, and I just think he's hit it well enough to beat him. So he like I said, if he'd have gone one hand, he might have got there a little bit easier. But at that time, it was deemed to be the best decision he's made, and I'd stick with him. So
yeah, I would say that the technique of this one compared to some of the other ones around the league, like I mean, obviously the JJ Rideout one was a classic Gerrard or Shearer-esque free kick where they just smack it and hope for the best. But compared to the other ones, I mean, the Panay one was inside the box. he did find the top corner as well. But this one, I don't know if you know much about Jacob, Seb, if he's a left footer or not. But yeah, it's some connection. I mean, I know he's a big Salisbury boy as well. He's been injured for quite a while. I'm not sure. Is this his first senior goal? Maybe too.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'm not. So it's a massive one, and yeah, I saw a lot of those comments as well saying that here's the nomination, and probably some of them got just as many reactions as the Football Australia post. So
and
if they can
and
compare,
so did Mowbray goal.
Yes,
Did you see the Mowbray goal, the team goal? What a team goal that was!
Oh.
So
it does seem a bit harsh to disqualify it because the goalkeeper should have done better. That sort of
I know, right?
Sort of takes away from the shot itself, doesn't it?
that's the thing. The shot was actually he's hit it well. He's got the dip on it. So
contact
what about those?
A goal of the week if you have issues, because
we'll never see a halfway line goal nominated again if it's all about the keepers making mistakes.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you know what? They're not making a mistake. If they've ever been asked to play high, they're not making a mistake. They're doing exactly as they've been asked to do. They've been asked to play high. And to be honest, I'd hate to think how many goals I would concede from high now. And was on the D. Like, I was never in my box.
Yeah. And that's spoken coming from a goalkeeper too.
Lucky that no one was quick enough to shoot while I was that far off my line.
And my other pick was looking at South Australians all over the place, starting off with some of the young Matildas, under 20s and under 23s. Ilona Mele and Sean Dewey are part of that under 20 team, which has qualified for the Asian Cup next year. And the under 23s with Ella Tonkin and Amelia Murray also. They're actually playing tonight as a part of the under 23s. So good luck to them as well. And the under 20s, really exciting to see as well, especially at youth level. It's really important for those big tournaments for both the girls and the boys. And then also some new signings as well. Joe Gauchi going on loan to Port Vale in League One. And Rafael Borges Rodriguez in the League Cup this morning getting man of the match, which is really, really good to see. And then another one of our South Australians, another winger, Nestoria Nkunda, making his starting debut for Watford this morning. Made his debut on the weekend against Charlton. I actually watched the half an hour he came on. Probably wasn't enough to really make a good enough assessment. The half an hour I watched against Charlton, and they weren't particularly good, Watford. And clearly, as I have a sort of a collage of replies from the game this morning, Watford weren't good anyway, but Nesta seemed to be a big highlight of the match for them, which is really, really good early signs. Hopefully starting more and more often, as we see a lot of Australians in general playing in the championship this year, in the English championship, compared to even previous years, is really, really good to see. So yeah, those are my two picks. Very, very exciting just to have a look at. Mark, do you want to go to you?
Yeah, why not? My first pick is Eastern United being confirmed as minor premiers for State League 2.
That was early.
On the weekend. And they'll be awarded the trophy and the medals this weekend after their last game of the season. But as you just brought up there, the statement, there was rumours circulating that they had put an application in to join the Confederation, or the OFC, the Oceania Football Confederation. The club have now come out and stated with a statement saying that they have applied and are one of only 2 Australian clubs still in it at this stage of the proceedings. I think it's a great thing for them to do. I hope it all works out for them. They are still, and they've actually in the statement also said that they will be looking to keep a team in the FSA and the state leagues, obviously as a lead into that OFC team if they get accepted. So I hope it all goes well for them, and we'll just have to keep an eye on it. But yeah, that's their statement just there. So if you get a chance, jump on their Facebook page and you can read it and have a look and leave comments and things like that, which is great, like I said, for Eastern. And also a good thing for Football SA. Like, I think that's, if they can get into that and it can show, it'll certainly give them a chance to become such a big club, because people go, oh, well, I'm going to go there because I can get a chance to play in that official league, pro league. So be very interesting to see how that progresses. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then I just found another thing pop up just before we came live. Actually, was Berkala have introduced a new phase of football for their club. It's I can't remember what it's officially called. I just have to find the photo. The development phase squad. And now I don't know if many people know this, but Metro already have this. They've had this in place for quite some time, and they've got some great coaches in there. And I know Simon Catanzaro, for one, who's been a commentator with many of us, is their 18s coach. So Bacala have now introduced that they're going to do the same thing. And I was funny enough just saying this on the weekend, how I'm not surprised. I'm surprised that more clubs haven't used Metro Stars as a blueprint on how to sort of become more professional and try and use that as like I said, as a blueprint, how to grow and get bigger and then be a force in the men's league and what I think will soon be a force in the women's league as well.
Yep, absolutely. Very, very exciting times ahead for both of those two clubs, Eastern United and Bacala, with that new announcement as well. David, I'll go to you.
Okay, I occasioned myself to visit Kilburn Sportsplex on Saturday afternoon for the State League 1 game down there. And it was they had a big event there for Neil McGahey. They were unveiling the main stand there and naming it the Neil McGahey stand. The unveiling happened at half time, and after the game they had a big Greek night, taverna night, is that what they call it, with a live band, food and drink and everything. Neil gave a little speech at half time. He migrated to Australia in 1964. He comes from the Calderbank area. I think his local team might have been Albion Rovers, but I wanted to have a wee chat with him, but he was a busy guy, and I'm curious as to who he played for in Scotland. So if anybody knows, please put it in the comments here. He represented South Australia, and he played 138 games for West Adelaide in the NSL. He was captain coach in West Adelaide's 1978 NSL Championship year, a bit before my time, if I'm honest. He also mentioned in his speech that West Adelaide had played the Socceroos, and I didn't know this, but they played the Socceroos in their last warm-up game before the 1974 World Cup. The game was played behind closed doors, and the West Adelaide team that he was a part of beat the Socceroos 4-0. And he mentioned as well that, and I hadn't realised this either, that in the 10 years before West Adelaide were entered into the National Soccer League, they won the old State League, which would have been the top tier at the time, 5 times, and they were runners-up 5 times. So going into the NSL competition, and while he was there and while he was coaching, West Adelaide really were a force to be reckoned with. He had recounted that he reckoned they were playing games in front of around 10,000, up to 10,000 spectators in those days, pre-NSL. So, back, it would be great to have those crowds back. I mean, even when we were at the Australia Cup game just the other night, 2,000 there, it just felt great. So imagine having 10,000 at a local game. So anyway, that's my pick of the week. The Neil McGahey stand has been named and unveiled in honour of one of their greatest.
Thank you for that, David, and we'll talk more about the game itself later on in the show. Alessio, finally to you.
I just want to back on David's point there as well. I actually looked up a bit about him as well, Neil McGahey. While you were saying that it was he was your pick earlier today, and I did see that he was the captain and player coach for their NSL win in '78, which I found pretty cool. That's very rare, and I think all I could find that is he played for Elizabeth West before Hellas. So that's an interesting note there. But yeah, a very big legend of the game as well. And it's good to see that West Adelaide are really sticking on with a lot of the legends as well. I mean, there's so many that have gone through Adelaide City and West Adelaide, but to see them so pertinent to him, with the unveiling, he was there. When they got the grant for Kilburn, he was there. He's got a stand now. He's all in about it. When they had the promotion, I saw one of the pictures about him, and I think it was Zoran Matic for Adelaide City when they're talking about the first time the derby had been back. So it's great to see that he's a real big head for West Adelaide at the moment and someone they can look to for the past, which is great. To go on to my pick, though, it was another very ethnic team in FK Beograd making the finals for the first time in about, I think it was 21 years, it said, which is it's just fantastic to see. Another one to note in here as well is they're the second youngest team in the NPL beside the United Youth team, which is great to see because I'm not sure, some of you probably know, in the past, Beograd's probably been a bit of an older team They've taken a few players that have been ex-A-League or have been a bit older and played coaching player roles, kind of stuff like that in the past. So to see them have such a young core this year and not a lot of visa players too, it just goes to show that what a coach Adrian Deloyer has been in his first gig as a senior head coach by himself, that he's really taken some of his learnings from previous teams, previous jobs, and he's finally brought finals football to FK Beograd in the top division. I knew that it's been a while since they have been, because I know they were in the state league. They were in the finals almost every year that they were in the state league, but because they hadn't been in the NPL for a while, then they'd missed out over the last couple of seasons. I reckon it was on the last day they've missed out on the last couple of seasons. So I think it's massive for FK Beograd. It's going to be a massive game out west as well when they play it, and they've been on a great form this season. Hopefully they can take it into the finals, because some of their players are going to be right up there with the top prizes of the league this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Very much looking forward to their upcoming finals campaign. Just before we move on, a bit of breaking news, actually, from an Adelaide United perspective. Archie Goodwin has officially departed Adelaide United for the MLS. It doesn't say what team, but from reports, it's Charlotte FC. So just thought I'd add that in.
So at this rate, one of us might end up getting called up.
Depends what positions they need. Well, they're without a striker, so in a few other positions. But yeah, just thought I'd add that on literally as you were talking, Alessio. I've seen that come up on my phone. So interesting news, and I'm sure we'll learn more about that in the week to come. All right, time to move on to the next part of our show. Oh, that's a knock at the door.
We haven't had one of those for a while.
No. Wow. Whose door is it? Because it's not mine.
Okay, is it mine? I haven't done it for a wee while. Is it mine?
Yeah, it's yours. Yeah, I think it's yours, David. Yep.
Hang on, I'll just go get it. See who's there. Hold on.
I wonder who's at the door. I have absolutely no clue. Couldn't even have a guess. I'm stunned for words about who this could possibly be. No idea. No idea who this could be, David.
You won't believe it.
I don't think I will.
It's Michele Lastella. And I can't say what he's got a CV the length of my arm, so how am I supposed to say where he's from?
Thank you for joining us. Pleasure
for having me.
to have you. Yes, absolutely. As always, I start off with the easy questions, and the easiest question of them all. Just tell us sort of about your history, both playing and coaching, I guess, up to this point, as we are now.
The short of it is I come up through the state programs through Sassy with the late Martin Crook as a player. Spent a couple of years overseas, wasn't good enough, so had my contract torn up. Ended up playing NPL most of my career. I spent a year in Queensland in the NPL there, which was actually good fun. And then pretty much finished the last, 8 or so years at Western Strikers, which was kind of like home to me. So, yeah. And then coaching, while I was playing, Michael Matriciani invited me to come help him out with the NTC girls. I don't even know what year that was now, 2016, 2017, potentially. So, and I've essentially been there ever since. I think he left I think he took over Adelaide City in 2019, I believe. So I've been head coach there since 2019, and I'm still there. Yeah, that's the short of it. Do you want it any longer?
I don't mind. I can ask a follow-up question.
I'm conscious because you guys made a bit of a joke before about something being like too extensive. So.
No, I can, I guess, almost follow up. I guess, was coaching something you'd always wanted to do while playing? And I guess specifically women's football as well, getting involved in that too.
I think as a player, I was always coaching just because that was just the role I played in most of the teams I played in. And in terms of going on to be a coach, I started kind of the coaching badges while I was playing. Edson Androli would always push us to do coaching. I think it was the worst thing to do while you're playing, to be honest. Just because you start to think differently. You start to think like a coach as opposed to a player, and you're thinking about, you ask a lot more questions, which I think the players or this generation, I think they've been brought up that way where they ask a lot more questions, which is probably better. In terms of women's football, I was just helping Michael out and really enjoyed it. And I didn't want to leave. When Michael left, I didn't really want to leave the girls by themselves, if that makes sense. So I just said, okay, I can't exactly, because you build rapport, you build relationships with players. And and I ended up staying.
Yeah, perfect. You have been with sort of that squad and that team for a while. I guess, how have you seen the development of, I guess, the program, the way you go about things, and the players themselves coming through over these past few years?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think when I first took over, there was a period where there was no restrictions on A-League players in teams. So I think 2019, Adelaide City would thump us like 10-1. I mean, they had pretty much the entire Adelaide United team plus the Sasaki sisters. So it was quite difficult at that time. And then over the years, I think players are getting better because they're watching more football and they're training more and they're idolizing female footballers, which is fantastic. So from that perspective, I think the whole women's game is growing and players are getting better and better. In terms of the program, I think we've definitely gotten stronger from a whole collective, from, the part-time programs right through to the senior team. Well, senior team, if you want to call it that. So it's definitely heading in the right direction. I guess the main job is to get players, representing Australia and representing Adelaide United. That's always been the objective.
Yeah. And I guess as well, if you had to estimate, how many players do you think still playing now are either WMPL or A-League level, even at national level? Do you think that you have had been coach of or even been a part of the journey? Because it must be countless. And
I think there is a lot now. There is actually a lot. I would say 7. I think Costa Yarich might even have the stat on this, but I'm going to say there's 70 to 75% of players that are in the NPL have either had some sort of, I guess, experience in the program.
Yeah.
And it's funny because now when I look across and, I see Zoe Toland, Katie Bowler, these sorts of players playing against us and thinking how good they were when they were with us and then how much better they are now. It's just like, wow. It's tough, but it's also, you've got to just sit back and enjoy it a little bit as well.
I was going to say, I guess, how is that feeling when you've almost brought a player through and you've seen them flourish, play at national? How rewarding is that for you as a coach? And did you expect that sort of feeling when you sort of started your coaching journey as well to have?
No, not at all. I didn't expect that feeling or that sort of result. But when you look across and you see players obviously representing Australia or going on to help Adelaide United, I think it's definitely rewarding, and it's always got to be about the player. So if the hardest thing is that Adelaide United, it's difficult to make the jump from NTC because there's a period where maybe they need another year or they need an extra 2 years to develop to then go to the A-League level. So that's one of the hardest things I find is the gap potentially where we can try and bridge it a little bit to Adelaide United. And then it's hard, right? Because now the Adelaide United and the A-League is a lot longer. So players that are on youth development contracts or scholarship contracts, they might go into the squad, but then they're training and not getting any minutes. And then they haven't played a game of football for 7-8 months. And I've seen it the last couple of years. And sometimes you guys would know better than me as a young player, you need to play games. So if you're not playing games, you're just training, it can hurt your development.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at, I guess, your team's season as a whole, you made a cup final. You just missed out on finals the last night of the season last week. But also you've had a lot of injuries, a lot of ins and outs, which I guess is sort of the nature of the program and just how it works. How have you found it? Would you deem it still a successful season? I guess, what is success in the eye?
Yeah, well, it's a good question because we've been reflecting on it a lot since last Friday, to be honest, and just the last month or so. And what is success and what does it look like? For me, I want the players to play in big games. I want them to play in finals. I want them to play in cup finals. So we made the preseason cup final, and we made the cup final, and then we just missed out on the finals. So I want them to be involved in those games. So when they go play international football, or when they go play for Adelaide United or train for Adelaide United, they've got a little bit of a step up of intensity. So in that regard, yeah, it was tough to swallow not making the finals, because I want the girls to play in those sorts of games. But then, I can't complain. We've had Sian Dewey, Alona Malay, basically qualify for the Asian Cup. They've been away. We've got Alicia Gray, who's also qualified for the World Cup now, under 17s for New Zealand. Maeve Nicholas will be coming away for the AFF, similar to the under 23s tournament that's happening at the moment. That's happening next week. So there's 4 players that have been out of the squad, but they've been going on to do, bigger things, I suppose. So that's successful when you look at it like that. And then hopefully we're getting players, again in the Adelaide United squad, because that's the main objective, while still trying to develop the players, the rest of the group.
Yeah. And then I guess, not to dwell on it too much longer, but looking at last Friday, just narrowly missed out due to basically other results and whatnot. As a coach,
our results said, let's get one thing.
Do you, on the bench, are you aware of results as they're happening? I always find it fascinating when it's those sort of final day, final night things. Do you have someone on the sidelines telling you, "Oh, there's a goal here, therefore you need to do this"? Does that influence you?
Last week, I wasn't concerned about any other results other than ours, because at the end of the day, if we don't do the job, then it didn't matter what the other results were. So I was solely focused on our result last week. But in the past, I've been aware. Like I think I've even asked. But to be honest, the best thing you can do is just focus on the task at hand. Otherwise, you're just worrying about too many things that you actually can't control, and it's never good for you focusing on things you can't control.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair enough. I will open it up. David, I'll go to you.
So I guess my first question is one I've just come up with during the course of that conversation there. I just wanted to understand what your current portfolio is. So you're involved with Football NTC. Where else are you currently involved?
So I'm no longer with Adelaide United, but I'm involved with the under 17s Matildas. So I kind of had to make some decisions regarding that. So so basically Football SA NTC and the under 17s Matildas. They call it the junior Matildas.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what age you are, but I've not paid my house off yet, and you've achieved a lot more than I have in footballing terms to this point. But as you look back on the years that you have had, what's the highlight for you, or highlights if there's plural?
That's a really good question. From a coach's perspective, I don't know. I remember making the grand final. We went through 3 penalty shootouts in 2022. We had, a youngish squad. But we had some players, like we had, at the time, we had Lily DeCola, Maddie Wright. So, those sort of players, Camilla Madriz, who's obviously in America now. We had a solid group of players that were very team orientated. So that was one that sticks out. Just the going through 3 penalty shootouts was quite eventful, to be honest. And I think before that there hadn't been a penalty you have to ask Paul, he would know. If there hadn't been a penalty shootout in a final series, and we had 3 back to back.
Yeah. So I've got another one for you, which really talks about the future. And I'm not going to say where do you see yourself in 10 years' time, but I look at the likes of Mark Talbot. He's a 300 games Hall of Famer, life member here, and all that. And his career has ended up doing a podcast with 3 fools. Where do you see yourself in future? What ambitions have you got beyond this? Because obviously you're already featuring at national level. But what's the kind of next step beyond that for you?
I've always wanted to be involved in international football, like with the Matildas. Obviously, I've been with NTC since 2016-17. and yeah, this has only just happened recently. I was invited with the under-20s for this Pan Nations Cup through one of the head coaches at the time. It wasn't Alex Aparkis, but it was Corey Babington, which we played, I think it was Thailand, Solomon Islands, and I can't remember the third nation, but that was great to be involved at that level and getting a bit of taste international level. So I've always loved that. I also loved, the A-League and coaching, across, helping Adrian Stentor the last 5 years. So I love the professional level. I love the elite level. I like when people come to training and they're serious and they get to work. And that's the environment I try and instill with the NTC squad as well. There's no different, because at the end of the day, those players are aspiring to get to that level. So you need to try and operate at that level. So in terms of where I'm not sure where I'll be in 5 years, but I think I do like the professional side of football. So yeah, I can't exactly answer that, to be honest, David. Sorry.
You're not going to be in a podcast with us then, are you?
Yeah, why not? Always. Never forget where you come from. That's all I tell my players. Never forget where you come from.
Years ago, I coached. I've got two daughters. They both played grassroots football, and then they moved into the FSA competitions. And one of the things I found quite hard the FSA competitions only went up to under 17 level, and I found that period when they were sort of too old for that and were going into senior women's football quite daunting as a parent as well as a coach, because they're essentially still kids, with all due respect to them. They're mature kids, and they show maturity on a park as well. But ultimately, they are still kids. And as a dad, as well as a coach, I kind of struggled with that whole leaping into women's football when they got to that age. So you're essentially managing, and this is maybe naive of me to state this, but I sort of see you as sort of managing a junior team in an adult competition. Is that a fair assessment to make? And how do you manage essentially juniors in that senior competition?
Yeah, I think that's one of the challenges, right? But at the end of the day, they need to be preparing for the next level. So I kind of see it that way. But it is interesting, because then when you see players like, Christy Moore used to turn some of the players inside out and just use her experience and just, you'd notice the difference. Or, maybe an A-League player just a little bit more experienced, or using the dark arts a little bit more. Like, the players don't really have that. They learn that once they go into the NPL and they get really good and they use it against us. Like, we always have this saying, it always happens, players, doing the shoelaces for the throw-in or whatever. Like, that's part of the game. Like, that's not a problem. So you notice it with those sorts of things. And then obviously when we have sometimes younger players, because I've got a bit of an age spread with my squad, they might get a little bit scared of some more physical players in the league. But I think for the most part, they get on with it. I just tell them to try and just get on with the game and focus on their game, as opposed to worrying about anything else. So for the most part, they're okay. But it is a challenge, definitely, because every year we're releasing 9 or 10 players and we're bringing up 9 or 10 players. So you kind of got to go through a similar process every year. So that is a challenge, because sometimes the cycle is they're a little bit younger, or sometimes like this group here or last year's group, they were a bit more mature because they'd played a fair few games in the NPL. Whereas, next year there'll be players that would have played maybe 2 games in the NPL playing every game.
Yeah, I wouldn't hog the questions the others will be wanting to ask theirs, but I just finished with a wee statement. I've recently watched, for some reason, I seem to get Metro United and Flinders a few times this year, and I watched Erin Prince and Lily Nichols. They're both 16-year-old girls playing in this competition here, and for me, they played with a maturity beyond their years. Yeah. Just fantastic to watch these youngsters coming through. Lily Nichols scored actually at the weekend, and it was her first start in the WNPL, and I'm sure her first goal as well. And there's footage of it. You can see the camera zooms in when she celebrates, and the look in her face is just absolutely magnificent. She just, the hands over the eyes, I can't believe it, sort of thing, and genuine joy at what she was doing. So I commend you with these kids. I think it's great that to see these kids coming through, and I'll pass the baton on to one of the others now.
Mark, we'll go to you.
I actually have a question based off what you were saying earlier about the gap between the A-League and the NTC, and is that down to an age thing where you're limited to having to release players from the NTC because they're reaching a certain age and they do need that extra year or two? Is that something that needs to be looked at, and is it a possibility to amend that so you can actually spend that extra year or two with them, because they could go A-League with that extra year? Or is it something that's not even a discussion? Then
no, it's always a discussion. It's always a discussion. Every year it's a discussion. Even when Ivan Karlovic was coaching, it was a discussion. So, but more so it's, okay, Adrian or now Theo, okay, which players do you like? Maybe do they come train a little bit? Maybe do they stay in the program one more year? But it also, we don't want to deprive younger players from developing as well. So it's kind of like you've got one hand tied behind your back and the other one may be free sometimes. So it's a balancing act, I would say. And so we're in a pickle where we want to continue to develop the players and bring them up. And then maybe if the Adelaide United coach says, oh no, I really like this player, maybe another year, then we have a discussion about what's best for that player. Because ultimately it should be about the player, but also, we are a feeder to Adelaide United as well. So
okay, so there are the discussions there, which is great, because it means you can obviously, if there's someone that is you're going, actually they need 1 year, and they have hit that age limit, so that's always a positive. But and the other thing I was going to ask is, you were asked to take over the women's A-League side when Stenta moved across to the men's, and you turned it down.
I knew this was coming.
Yeah, well, we asked the tough questions. Can you enlighten us on the decision behind not stepping up, obviously, into a professional environment and things like that? Like, is it something you can discuss? Obviously, firstly, if not, fair enough. But we just thought, what, we'll ask the question.
No, I think. I mean, I get asked it a lot, actually. The main thing was just timing for me, and
Just lost his audio there for a second.
You're on mute, Michele.
Mute somehow.
That's the authorities bugging you, mate.
I didn't even have my hands on the mouse. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Continue on.
That's a sign. That's a sign.
It is.
That's a sign. Wow.
Not to answer that question ever.
I don't really believe in spiritual. My wife does, but I kind of do anyway. It was more about timing, but I don't know if you heard, but I've been going back to back with NTC would finish and then would start United. And then once the NTC would start, I'll be doing the doubles plus my job in between. Like it was, and I'd done that for 5 years. So there was that element, but also I got offered the assistant coach of the junior Matildas, so the under 17s as well. And I had to basically make a decision which one I wanted or which one I had to make it. I couldn't do both. I couldn't do all three, to be honest. So at that time, thinking about maybe the commitment of Adelaide United, which is what's required, because anyone knows, coaching these days is not like it used to be 20 years ago. I would say there's a lot more analysis, there's a lot more planning, and then let alone being a professional environment. So I had to make that call purely based on timing, my kids, my job, and then the opportunity to be involved with the junior Matildas. So it wasn't one thing that made me decline it. It was just a combination of all those factors. So and it was I took my time making that decision. It was a difficult decision to make because you just don't know if you get that opportunity again, to be honest.
And well, that actually kind of leads me on to my last question is, you have a wife, you have kids, you have a full-time job. And I don't think a lot of people realise that coaching isn't your full-time gig. And one, I'm going to shout out to your lovely wife who somehow makes it work behind the scenes for you, because behind every great man there is an absolutely amazing woman, that's for sure. I don't understand how you guys can manage it, how she can deal with it all. And like I said, you've got, not only do you have a full-time job, but you're a lecturer in your chosen field. And so for me, it's just how do you keep the family happy? How does your wife also obviously make the house tick, because effectively she does, really.
I'm actually going away for 2 weeks on Saturday because we've got the AFF tournament. Sometimes I don't know the answer to that. It's you put me on the spot there, Mark. Thanks.
That's what we do. We like to ask tough questions.
I also get a guilty conscience of it, and then you bring it to the surface again. So I will feel guilty definitely until probably match day -1 when I'm buzzing. But yeah, it was so difficult, especially with the A League. That was very difficult. Probably one of the main reasons. Whereas with the junior Matildas, it's like camps and you're away for a period, but then you're home. So you're not like at training every morning, not going to Marden every morning, coming home, going to work home, NTC. So I think I have more time. I will have more time once I get back from this tournament to spend with the family and my wife, obviously.
No, that's all from me. I won't ask any more tough questions. So it's all on with David and Alessio.
Oh, far out. That was a lot. Got deep and heavy quick. Alessio, you got something light?
I'll go. Actually, Alessio, I'll go to you next.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I only had some light ones. I didn't really prepare too much, but just seeing about your background and hearing a lot about you as a player, you as a coach as well. Is there anything, I don't know if you might have mentioned it before, is there anything specific what's led you to be a women's coach? And have you had any offers to be in a men's field as well as a coach? Obviously, let's start your journey as well, but yeah.
Yeah. The way it led in was Michael Matriciani obviously asked me to come help him with the girls. So that's the way I led in. And then I get asked that question so much. You're going to go across to the men's, et cetera, et cetera. I have had offers from different NPL clubs to come and coach, or State League 1 or 2.
I was going to say, and State League 1.
And State League 1 and State League 2. No, but I've had people approach me at different times. And I've always kind of declined purely because I feel like I'm where I need to be. So I've been comfortable with that. If that makes sense. So yeah.
That's all for me. I just thought it was interesting, but yeah.
Appreciate that.
All good.
David, I'll finish off with you.
Okay, a couple of quick ones. Are you at liberty to talk about what you do during the week? You do sort of academic research? Are you happy to?
Yes, I'm a balanced academic. I lecture like psychology, like level 2 and 3 psychology, and supervise, honors and PhD students and things like that. And that's one of the reasons why during the A-League, like it was a little bit easier because I have different teaching semesters. So normally my teaching semester is in the second half of the year, which is right now. So it was a bit easier to juggle the A-League as well. So so that's what I do every day, as my job.
And is that Adelaide Uni or?
No, actually, we were part of Uni of South Australia, but my research, because I specialise in sleep behaviour, my research lab got poached by Central Queensland University. So I actually lecture for Central Queensland University, but I'm based in Adelaide. We've got a campus on Green Hill Road. So, and there's a full sleep lab there. There's like a Big Brother house, 6 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms. Every room's got a color-coded, like purple, yellow, orange, red, just color. It's one of the biggest sleep labs in the Southern Hemisphere, actually.
I need to get involved in a sleep lab. Seriously, that sounds good.
You get paid as well. You get some studies, you get paid. You might not like the protocol, but
I just want to sleep. If you're
Yeah.
looking at people to sleep, I'll be happy help.
Maybe we could do a little podcast from one of those sleep lounges some nights, eh?
yeah.
I just got another quick question for you, Michele, while you're there.
Yep.
So I mentioned before that I'd been involved with coaching up at the Adelaide Hills Hawks with junior girls there while my daughters were coming through, and one of the challenges I found there was managing parental expectations. And I'm not sure how to ask this question because obviously there'll probably be a lot of people listening who are maybe involved with the groups that you've had in the past, including those that have left. But I just wondered, when you get to that level where you are competing against adults, and I'll go back to that earlier point, that they're very young, the NTC girls, in terms of their years. The parental expectations at NTC level must, I guess they must be at a level above and beyond what I experienced in the local FSA comps up to sort of under 15, under 17 level. Many of the kids that I was involved with are now playing at that level in WSL and WNPL, and it's been great to see them there. But yeah, parental expectations in the NTC environment, how does that all work out for you? Is that something that's easy to navigate?
I think it's just like a team. Everyone's different. So all parents are different. And the main thing that I've always tried to do is be completely honest, sometimes to a point where I'm blunt and direct. And I've always tried to be the same way. So I don't really change on that. I'm just trying to be completely honest. This is where your daughter's at. This is what I think. And sometimes I remember a conversation with Maddie Wright and her dad a long time ago. And I basically told her, I sat them in a room and I said, look, Maddie, I want to be completely honest with you. You're not going to play any minutes this year. And I said, after 6 weeks, if you're not happy and you want to go try and get minutes in the NPL, just let me know and we can organize it. And, I said, just go home, think about it. Her dad was in the room and she was, she played every game that following season and has gone on. So I think just being completely honest, and the idea is to challenge the player and tell them what I think, but also what's their response like. So I think that's important, is what's their response going to be like. And sometimes players do leave, and sometimes it's actually better for the player to leave so they can actually play games, because I think it's important to play. But you just try and see the character of the player as well. So but I think just being completely blunt and honest is, I know some parents will probably hate me for that. But anyone that knows me will know that I'm a bit direct, and I don't like to fluff it, if that makes sense. I think it's better to be like that. You'd rather know than not know. And I'm not going to sit here say yes, 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 or I'm going to promise you you're going to play 15 games when that might not be the case. So
I think that's ideal, especially at that level. It's absolutely ideal. But if I had a child at that I'd want to know straight. So I think that's probably the best way to go about it. You've been very honest. I think we've asked you some very tricky questions tonight. I think trickier questions than any other guest has ever had. So well done you in answering them. And it's interesting. I think what I've gathered from this is that most of these players are better once they've left you. It sounds like they go on to bigger and better things.
We have this saying, my staff and I, we have this saying that anytime someone leaves, so like anytime someone ages out, like look, Lily DeCola scored that shot outside. We have this saying that every time someone leaves, the following year they come back and score a double, or like it just happens. Like Lily Barber next year will score against us. I promise you. And I've coached Lily since she was 14 or whatever it is. Like she will score against us, and we fear that. We have this saying that anytime someone leaves the program, they always come back and score, and they really want to score. But the thing that I'm enjoying the most is that we've got relationships with the players that move on, and I think it's a good place, if that makes sense. So I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, I think in most aspects, it's pretty much only a good thing. I think just playing and scoring, of course, for any player really. Yeah. Before we finish off, we do have some viewer questions, which are a lot lighter than some of the ones we've asked you. Nothing too hard, just 3 questions. That's showing up the wrong one. All right, first question. Something we didn't touch on. What was it like playing for the Beach Socceroos, playing alongside such name as those listed?
People don't know this, but the first World Cup qualifiers, I actually didn't make the team. Ayrton didn't put me in the team. I was a standby player, and one of the Brazilian guys didn't get naturalized in time, so I went away. And I sat in the grandstand with Ante Juric while the 10 were. So there was 12 players. 10 were playing. I sat in the grandstand. Someone didn't have a good game, so then I got to play thereafter. So yeah, people don't know that, but I didn't actually make the team the first time round. So that's the way I'm going to answer that question.
And the next question: if you didn't coach soccer, what other sport do you think you would coach or be able to coach at such a level that you do now?
That's a good question. I just finished the pro diploma, and we had to do a work a visit of any other sport, any other code. And I spent a week with Beach Volleyball Australia, and I actually loved it down at Sassy. Good setup. Andrew Schwert, ex-Olympian, great mentor. I even speak to him now. He's still a bit of a coach mentor, to be honest. And I loved it. And they've got like a 4 athletes to 1 coach ratio. And obviously you've got the top 4 athletes, then you've got the next 4 that are trying to get to the top 4. It was great. So I don't know, maybe I'd do beach volleyball.
Okay. And the final question, this will be the hardest one of them all. What is the best assistant coach you've ever had?
He's got nothing better to do, that guy. Mark LeBianco is the best assistant coach I've had. He's my current assistant coach.
I suppose I will just add on to that your relationship with Costa. Just as a last question, how have you found that? And I guess how have you seen him go as well with West Adelaide and doing so well they have done the past few years that he's been in charge specifically?
Yeah, no, we have a great relationship from when he was at Adelaide Uni, to be honest. I didn't know him beforehand, so just coaching against someone over the years, you just build rapport and relationships. And look, he's gone on to make West Adelaide very solid and very strong. And, you know, to be honest, he's only got one A-League player in that squad, essentially. So, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, this final series, but I think he's done a great job, and it's going to be interesting what happens.
And I'm sure that's the here too.
Are we allowed to ask him who his pick is now that he's not in finals? Are we allowed to ask that? Yeah. Who do you think's finals?
We don't make it easy, mate. We don't make it easy.
He's gone on mute. He's gone on mute again.
He's got I don't know what he's pressing. You're on mute, Michele. I don't know if you can hear us either.
You're on mute.
Fine. That's right. It's time for him not to answer.
My hands here. I was just thinking, does Chelsea Dorver play? Does Claudia Jenkins play? They got the 2 Americans, Campbelltown. Georgie Anella looks super fit. But I don't know. I think it's out of Western Inter.
Okay.
Right. I think I don't know. And Inter just
do it sometimes. They just do it.
I don't know. It's too hard. And you know what? Like Chrissy Panagaris can score goals for fun. So I don't know. No, I'm not answering. Okay. Maybe Metro win it. Maybe Metro go and win it. Seriously,
David's mid-table mediocrity team.
Did you hear about this? At the start of the year, I described, I thought nobody listens to this podcast, and earlier on I said, oh no, lots of people do. At the start of the year, I described Metro United as mid-table mediocrity. I was basing it on last year and not much knowledge of this year, but boy, have I not been able to forget that.
I always go into the beginning of the year going, oh, we're going to be a tough year. It's going to be a tough year, you know. And what happens with our group is we're good at the beginning of the year because no one's got A-League players and we're kind of up and running. And then what happens is all the international tournaments happen, you know, during the season or toward the tail end. So we get a bit weaker. Everyone else gets stronger and the balance just flips. So, I'm not saying anything about next year, but.
We will let you breathe and relax from the questions. Thank you so much for joining us. Very much appreciated.
I've enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, very much appreciated. Good luck going overseas as well with those young Matildas, and also for next season as well. Thank you for coming on. Very much a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Very, very good chat. Very fascinating.
Could have kept going.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, we will go on to the past week's recent results. We normally start with State League 2, but I thought while it's fresh in our mind, we'll go back to Monday night at TK Shutter Reserve. Macarthur against Metro Stars. Macarthur winning 2-0 in the end. Me, Alessio, David were there. Mark probably had one of the better tactical views of the game by watching at home. But I suppose we'll start with the at-ground experience. Alessio and David. Big crowds, just under or just over 2,000, depending on what crowd figure that you're looking at. Depends what's published. Really good, really pumping. A lot of people there, obviously, quite loud at parts. The crowd more than happy to get into it, and so were some of the players too. I guess, David and Alessio, the sort of atmosphere and the game itself as well, just from your angles that you saw it. Alessio,
I thought it was a good venue. I think that's probably the most full I've seen Metro Stars before. I think they've utilised their new facilities quite well, and they housed a lot of people in there, of course. They actually probably, I would say, started off the better of the teams as well, and you could tell the pressure was mounting for Macarthur in those opening few stages. They got used to the artificial pitch too. It was good to see, obviously, some travelling fans too for Macarthur. But I thought it was a very good game tactically as well. If you took away the goals, I think it's a very even game. You wouldn't know which one is an A-League team, which one's not. And a lot of people watching back home could see the same as well. I thought it was a great atmosphere there. And parking ended up being a lot easier than I thought as well. I was only right on the main street there as well. I didn't have to go find an oval or a parking spot in a spare street. But I thought it was great. They housed those guests with ease. And looked like they were selling out the food and the ice creams as well. So I think they did a really good job with that as well. And hopefully what we can see is that the further this Metro Stars team goes in the league, in the cups, in all that, we can get more amount of crowd like this at all their games. I mean, if a lot of them are that close and a lot of them are watching such a good team, then I expect to see crowds like this more and more often, especially if they have some home Australian Championship games too.
Yeah, I think the one thing I remember seeing either on the way home or when I got home from the game, looking online, whether it was on various forums, Instagram or Twitter, etc., was a lot of people almost sort of underestimating the quality of Metro Stars. A lot of people sort of going like, oh, they're actually like good at football, is what I saw a lot of, which I found very interesting. That I guess, I don't know if it is maybe a bit of a non-SA bias, thinking that because we're South Australian, we're not as good. But a lot of it was, the general reaction was, oh, they were actually a very good footballing side, which I thought was really interesting. David, I'll go to you next on the sort of general everything about the game.
Yeah, well, I guess we were there as, for the first time, and I don't know how long, we were there as fans. We went there. Hey?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. So we were there as supporters, if you like, and I sort of got a bit carried away with it all. I was quite enthused by it all. It took me back to the days when I had
Absolutely, you did. You were very naughty.
Yeah, I was a little bit, and I'll go into that a bit later. But watching the game as a fan, just having a bag of chips, something to eat, something to drink, and chatting to your mates while you're watching the game. It just took me back to being a supporter, and I haven't been a supporter for quite a while. I mean, when I go back to Scotland, I do go and see my local team, and I'm back in that zone. But it's a long time since I've been a supporter. I thought Metro Stars. I echo what Alessio said before. I think Metro Stars started actually the better. I think the first 10 minutes they were the better side. I think the killer blow was probably that early goal in the second half from Bernardo, and I think that was probably the undoing. But I think Mark's probably better positioned to talk about the game itself because he probably sat on the couch and watched it and probably had a better view than us. But the one thing I was just going to add is certainly take my cap off to the Metro Stars group. They had a little temporary stand behind the goal. I mean, I remember they did that before, but it's just a nice touch, and that was packed. It gave people a bit of an elevated view behind the goal. There was a bit of a queue for ice cream. I actually gave up on that in the end. But apart from that, I thought they hosted it really well. So from a social perspective, it was great to be a fan, not to have to worry about doing research and who's played where and when and why and what, and have to talk about it for 90 minutes. And it was just a great atmosphere, and I commend the hosts. But I think Mark's, out of all of us, Mark's probably best placed to talk about the game itself because he probably watched it.
Yes, that's why I've left him for last. Mark, the game as a whole, from the best angle you could have possibly gotten.
Yeah, well, should I start with my apology, Seb?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Is that
absolutely.
where I should start? I will publicly apologise to Rob Rendy, chairman of Metro Stars and Metro in general. Last week I said that I didn't like their kit, I didn't like the colours, and it didn't mean it as in the colours as red and yellow. I meant that my favourite colour is red, actually, because I'm an Arsenal supporter. But the fact that they've got them together is where I struggle, and I'm just not a huge fan of their kit. So apologies, Rob, and I will catch up with you next time I see you. But no, from a game point, if he doesn't hurt me, but no, from a game point of view, and I mean that to say, like I said, it's. I do apologise. I didn't mean it as in I don't agree with their colours. I think whatever colours it suits, but I just struggle with red and yellow together. That's all it comes down to, and it's just my own opinion. I don't. Everyone has their own opinion on kits and things like that, so it's all good. But the game itself, I tell you what, Metro started like a house on fire. If they'd have scored in the first 20 minutes that they were all over Macarthur, I think it would have been a completely different game. And I think Macarthur, the two goals that Macarthur got were from two very unusual errors from Metro Stars. We don't see them make errors like that they did for those two goals. And I think that's what was their downfall. Was their downfall was those two mistakes. Noah McNamara got, and I don't say this, and to be honest, he's been one of my favourite and probably best defenders this season. He allowed Bernardo to get inside him and beat him. And the other goal was Lockie Barr, who again, since he's come into the Metro side, has been faultless, and it's also someone with A-League experience. I thought he'd be a little bit probably just tougher in that scenario. I think he just got pushed off the ball a little bit easier than what I think he should have, but that's just my opinion. But apart from those two mistakes, and when you look at the stats at the end of the game, they had more ball possession, more final third entries. So they were certainly, over the 90 minutes, they were actually the better side. I felt they were the better side. And Macarthur had, obviously, being an A-League side, they had their moments and there was a good period when they did score that they took control. But the start and finish, Metro certainly were the better side. They just couldn't break them down and score those goals needed. But the other thing I was going to say was like I said, Metro they just lacked in that final third. But one thing that did interest me was, and I followed this up, I watched the Western Sydney game the following evening last night, and Western Sydney got beat by Heidelberg. And this is what I found fascinating. I actually watched that game, and Western Sydney went into it like it was a training session. Yet Macarthur came here. They were doubling up on the important players. They were doubling up on Chittadini's, the Vissers, and Windsor. They knew how dangerous those three players were. They tried to double up on Hamish Gow every time he got the ball. I thought Gow was fantastic in that game, and I still cannot understand how this kid does. Well, he's not a kid anymore, but how he's not in the A-League baffles me. I don't know how someone has not gone to him and said, "Come and play for us." It's ludicrous. He controlled the midfield against an A-League side with the likes of Bratton for a good chunk of that game. And I know Bratton's 50 years old. He even mentioned it to the crowd. But Bratton's not that old. He's got the experience. He's got Australian experience. You know what I mean? So for someone to, and we know how good he is, and I can't say enough how good he is, and that partnership with him, Woodford, or the trio with Fortunato, how good they were. But this goes to the extent, like I said, Macarthur came in this knowing how good Metro are and have been this season and over the past 3 seasons, in the fact that Miele is calling up locals that he knows, like the likes of Barney Smith, going, hey, what do I need to know about this team? So that straight away tells you that they took that game serious and they worried about Metro Stars. Simple as that. Like I said, Barney had a good conversation with Miele going, yep, but Miele's calling him. What do we need to be careful of and things like that? And I don't know what Barney's what info they've given him, but when you've got the coach of the A-League side ringing up coaches from local here to go, hey, what do we need to know? You know they're taking it seriously. I would have loved to have seen Metro play against the Western Sydney side, because Metro would have thumped Western Sydney probably by more goals than what Heidelberg did.
Yeah.
But it just shows you the level, and that's the thing. Like I said, Macarthur knew what they were coming to, and I just think that shows the respect they have for what Metro are doing, and hats off to Metro Stars. Like I said, they didn't get the win, but I tell you what, they said they controlled the game for a good portion of it, and that's it. It just comes down to the 2 mistakes in the end.
And that is the thing, I guess, as well. You say, like, they absolutely respected Metro, but even with them taking it seriously as possible, they were still very much pushed.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
A-League side really trying to win against an NBL side, of course, also trying to win. Just shows you sort of, I guess, at times how close the gap is between, it's another conversation, but the MPL and the A-League is nowadays with some clubs. I think is very interesting.
With some clubs, definitely.
Yeah. David, I'll finish off on you. You've got another little piece to add, but I guess as well, your general experience as a fan, as a heckler at times, and also you also met the Macarthur fans as well.
Yeah. So just before I got into that, I was just going to mention that after the game, I went and looked up what I thought might have been the last time that Bernardo scored against Metro Stars at TK Shutter Reserve. And I have the game in front of me. I'd written some notes, but I left them at work because, I was trying to hide the fact that I wasn't working. So I stuffed the notes into my boss came in, stuffed the notes into the drawer. He said, "What are you doing?" "Oh, nothing, just got this really important stuff I'm doing that's work-related." And then I forgot to take the notes back home. Anyway, I think I found the said game. Adelaide United. So Bernardo was playing for Adelaide United at TK Shutter Reserve on the 4th of September 2021. The game finished 3-2 for Adelaide United. The 2 goals, actually a bit of a quiz here. Who do you think scored the 2 goals for Metro Stars in that game?
Ooh. What year? 2022?
2021.
2021.
September 2021.
2021.
I'll run a few names past you from that Metro Stars team that might help you in this little quiz here. So you've got Tim Henderson there, Anthony Salagna, Alessio Malisi, Francesco Schmitzi. That should be enough for you.
Was one of the scorers in that group?
No, otherwise it would be too easy. Jackson O'Donnell's name's there as well. He must have been the goalkeeper at that point.
Who was that, sorry?
Jackson O'Donnell. Is that different Jackson O'Donnell?
No, same one. Who's the other goalkeeper? Is that Callum Pianadosi? Or is that Carmody is the other goalkeeper?
No, Carmody's name's not there.
Is
this is the
other...
So I'll read the Metro Stars team for you, except for 2 names, because they form the basis of this quiz I've just invented. So you've got Connor O'Reilly, Luke Frangakis, Justin Davis, Tim Henderson, Rocky Callisto, Anthony Salagna, Ariaf Piol, Alessio Malisi, Francesco Schmitzi. I'm trying to make sure I don't read out the names I don't want to read out. Cooper O'Donnell, Christian Esposito, Theo Dufos, Stefan Call, and Jackson O'Donnell.
So a lot of strikers that haven't scored,
I've not mentioned 2 names there. One of them is the name of the guy who scored 2 goals in this 3-2 loss for Metro Stars at TK Shutter Reserve in 2021. And the other one
Fabian Barbiero would be one. Is he one?
Is that the goal scorer?
Fabian Barbiero, yeah.
Okay, you locking that in, Mark? Is that your answer?
Yeah, that's one of my answers.
Yeah. Okay. Alessio,
I'll go Hamish Gow.
That's what I was thinking too.
Mm.
But I wasn't sure.
Well, what do you, is that? You
I'll
locking
go
that in?
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, all three of you are wrong. It was Joshua Mori.
Ah.
Aye.
Just talking to him Saturday night, actually. He was at the FK Beer Grade game.
Hmm.
The second question I've got for you is a player I've not mentioned. The only player I've not mentioned who appears in that team is a player who was playing on Monday night. Do you know who that might have been?
Ooh.
But
Full
so
Metro?
it's in the Metro team in 2021. You're saying?
Yep.
D'Angelo?
As far as I could make out, he would be the only player playing on Monday night who played the last time Bernardo scored at TK Shitter Reserve, which was.
Well, Hamish Gow was playing then, but he was playing at Metro then.
You're going to lock it in, Mark, as David would say?
Just trying to think who else.
So he was in the Metro team in 2021, not in.
This is a player who played on Monday night, who's the only player that played in this game 4 years ago when Bernardo last scored at
Over both teams.
Yes.
So he played for
Adelaide
Macarthur.
United.
That's all I'm saying.
Jackson Walls for Adelaide United youth team.
That's a good shout.
Look
That because
confused.
he was at Raiders before. Before
But
Metro.
I remember he was in the COVID team bubble when they were in the A-League, but he didn't make an appearance. So I reckon he was there in that year because I reckon Raiders were in State League 1 that year, so he wouldn't have been there.
Is that the answer, David?
I didn't hear actually the name you were talking about.
Jackson Walls, but playing for Adelaide United youth team.
Okay, so you're putting Jackson Ball's name in there. Alessio, is that locked in? Jackson Ball's for you. Mark, who are you saying, Mark?
I'm just gonna go Gow because he was playing for Metro at 2021, so I'll just go with Gow.
Okay.
I would say Gow too.
Okay, the correct answer is Hamish Gow. Hamish Gow played in that game for Metro Stars. Now I'm moving over to the Adelaide United side that played that night. So Bernardo Oliveira scored the goal or a goal in this 3-2 win. Can you give me the name of a player in that Adelaide United side 4 years ago that was playing for Metro Stars on Monday night?
Noah McNamara. Is my guess.
Are you locking that in?
Yeah.
That's a good shout.
That's immediately what came to mind.
Lachlan Barr.
That's a good one.
I'm not sure when he went across to Adelaide United, so I'll go with Lockie Barr.
Alessio?
I was going to go Chittadini, but I don't think he... I think he was at Olympics still then.
Go on, lock it in. Lock it in.
Yeah, sure. I think it's wrong, but I'll go with just to make it different. Chittadini.
Okay. Who did you say, Seb?
Noah McNamara.
You're correct. Well done, you. So the fourth and final question is the fourth and penultimate question, I've got two more. I'm going to read out the names of the squad here. I'm going to miss out two names of the players who scored the other two goals in this 3-2 win. So you ready? So RB Mollis played, Noah McNamara, Adam Liam Bruno, Johnny Yule, Panache Madana, Bernardo. I've got to be careful here I don't read out the wrong names. Ethan Alagich, Giuseppe Bovalina, Fergus Lynch, Alessandro Torre, and Stephen Hall. So I've omitted a couple of names there. I want to know who scored the other two goals in their 3-2 win, in addition to Bernardo's.
Oh.
Two separate scorers.
Two separate scorers.
Yep.
2021.
Oh, Mohamed Toure.
Okay. And
the other Toure.
I'm going to go Musa
What's his brother's
Toure.
name?
Yeah,
I'm going to go Musa Toure.
Yeah, maybe.
And Yaya Dakuli.
Yeah.
Okay. How old's Dakuli now? I'm just wondering if he's still too young.
21?
He's about the same age as Mo Toure.
Okay.
Actually.
22. Yaya Dakuli's 22.
This game's 4 years ago.
Yeah. So that would make sense.
18. Yeah, it would do, yeah.
No, oh yeah, Mohamed Toure and like
I've slept since then, so I've got no idea.
Do you want to? You're off track. You're miles off track. Do you want a clue?
yes.
One of them currently plays for Watford in the Championship.
Oh, necessary.
Mister.
Oh,
The thing is, I was thinking of that, but I actually thought it might have been too early.
I thought it was too early. I didn't say it.
Yeah.
That was just first year that he was playing first
Yeah, he's
team.
probably 12.
Because I remember that year he played reserves as well, and then like halfway through the year he got pushed up.
Yeah,
I played against him, and then the next time he like was ripping our first team. So I was like, okay.
And there was one more scorer, was there?
There was.
and that was
Currently still playing in the NPL.
Ooh. But not with Adelaide United.
Is he a striker, midfielder, or a defender? Do we get that?
He's a striker.
Okay.
I might just tell you this one.
But do you not think we'll get it?
Asad
I don't
Kasimovic.
think you will. Hey?
Good one. That's
Asad
a good.
Kasimovic. But I guess he said he's still playing an hour in PL. But
Yeah.
Okay. What is it then, David?
Okay. In the interest of time, I'm going to tell you it was Binyam.
Kabedi.
Yeah, Binyam Kabedi. I digressed a little bit there, didn't I? Just an impromptu little quiz, and I'm sorry for that. So you asked me about my fan experience, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay, so because I was a fan for the night, I did heckle a little bit, and I hadn't had a drink. I was not that I'm a drinker as such anyway, but I was of sound mind. But we did meet a couple of Macarthur fans, Corey and I can't remember the other guy's name. Anyway, we met a couple of Macarthur fans, and they were cheering for their team both in the warm-up and when they came out, and the Macarthur players just completely ignored them. Well, to my mind, they completely ignored them, didn't acknowledge them, and I thought that was a shame. These two guys had flown over especially, had booked themselves into a hotel in Adelaide for the Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday, and were ignored. So Philip Curter, the goalkeeper at half-time, I let him know that as he left the park, that I was bitterly disappointed in both his and his team's response to the fans seeking attention. I thought it was a poor show by Macarthur. Shame on you. But what gave me a special delight was as I left, I don't think I told you this, Seb, but as I left the ground that night, the Clemzig Knights person had gifted MetroStar's supporter gear, fan gear to this Macarthur fan. And as I walked out the gates, the Macarthur fan had hidden all his Macarthur stuff and had been covered in MetroStar's gear that he'd been gifted and had taken home. I thought that was a lovely finish. So there was that. And then Mark might like this. At the end of the game, the unused substitutes, you know how they do the big sprints from box to box? Aye, so there's 4 substitutes there now. From memory, I think there were Will Mackay, Joshua Damevsky, I think it was maybe Dean Bosniak, and Walter Scott, who had come on in the 89th minute. So they're doing this box-to-box sprinting, and there's a trainer in the middle, and he's watching his clock, and he's waving at them. And then they sprint up to the other box. Then they get a 2-minute break, and then he's in the middle. He's got his hand up, and he's shouting, "Go!" And they come back down. So this happened a few times. And, of course, when they come down to our end, this clown couldn't resist, could he, Mark, Alessio? So they came down to our end, and the 4 of them are limbering up, ready for the shout. And I scream out across the park, "Go!" 2 of them set off. 2 of them set off. They realise their error because the guy in the middle who's looking at the clock's looking up and seeing 2 of his guys sprinting towards him. He holds his hands up, tells them to stop, waves at them, tells them to stop, and they're about turning to go back. And then they realise that the voice that's encouraged them to set off has come from our little corner of the park. But as they got back, what did I do? I did it again. And one of them set off, and then again he was looking at his clock, he's looking up, he's going, no, stop. I did it a 3rd time, and another individual set off, and then I stopped at that point in time. Credit to the Macarthur players, they took it in the good spirit that it was intended.
You can see them laughing.
I wish we'd filmed it.
Oh, it was so funny to watch. It was so good. And they didn't look at us, but you could see like from their backs that they were trying not to laugh. Like they were like, it was so funny. It was so funny. And yeah, I think we were the only ones there around the pitch as well. So they probably wouldn't have expected anyone else to yell out to them. No.
I'll use that one again.
Good to see you enjoyed your night out as a fan, David. That's what matters.
Yeah, it was good to be a fan because you just don't get to do that sort of stuff when you're in our normal job. So it was good to be a fan for a night. Loved it.
Absolutely. Very, very good night. Just unfortunate about the result. We will go on to State League 2. Starting with the North, Gun United losing 2-1 to Adelaide Atletico. Gawler Eagles in that very northern derby losing 4-1 to Northern Demons. Mowbray Vista and Salisbury Inter drawing 1-1, and Elizabeth Grove losing just 1-0 to Port Adelaide. Then in the South, a 0-0 draw between Uni and Eastern United, which confirmed their premiership. Western Strikers and the Hills Hawks drawing 2-2. Noarlunga 2-1 over Mount Barker. And Adelaide Titans losing 2-1 at home to Seaford Rangers. We'll look at the table quickly. First, Mowbray Vista and Eastern United now both confirmed for that that promotion playoff, which I think is in about a week's time. So that's very, very exciting. And then the top four, just double checking, are decided. I think the only movement is between Salisbury Inter and Gawler Eagles is only things that can change there. I guess, Mark, I'll start with you as an overall look at this table and at the results of the past weekend.
Oh, where would you like me to start? I'll let Alessio look after the South if that's the case, because he would have seen a bit more of the South with Mount Barker and Noarlunga. But no, look, I think Garn probably falling away a little bit towards the back end of the season. They're ending up near the second bottom spot, but Adelaide Atletico, what a season they've had. They've just quietly gone about their business. And I've said this about a couple of teams. They've just gone about their business and just continue to get results. So they'll be playing finals football, which is fantastic for them first year in. Northern Demons, a bit of a surprise victory over Gawler Eagles. I think we all picked Northern Demons to win that, Gawler to win that game. And Northern Demons haven't had the best results on the road, and they've got a big one here, so massive win for them. Mowbray Vista playing out 1-1 draw with Salisbury Inter. Mowbray Vista already confirmed as premiership winners by this stage, and I guess Port Adelaide just finishing on a high. Well, they've still got obviously one round to go, but finishing well with a win over Grove, which gets them closer to finals, and then they'll look at sorting themselves out for next season. So it'll be an interesting final round. There's not a lot to play for the teams, to be honest, in that league. I mean, Gawler and Salisbury Inter just playing for whoever's going to finish third and fourth. And that's pretty much it across both leagues. That's the only game Gawler have got. They're playing, funny enough, against each other. Salisbury Inter and Gawler are playing against each other. So it's Salisbury need a draw, and that's it, really. So... like I said, not much to play for in either leagues for the final round, and they're all just preparing for finals now. But I'll let Alessio talk about the South.
Yeah, Alessio, I'll go to you.
Yeah, as you said, I mean, I think a lot of these were pretty much sewn up for the last couple of weeks. You can see by the gaps in a lot of these points as well. Still, I guess, a little bit to play for pride in the bottom fours of both of these leagues to see how much further you can go up in those. I'm pretty sure Adelaide Hills Hawks have Titans, I think, in the last game, while Mount Barker have Uni. So I think there's a little bit, I guess, pride to play for to see who can finish above the other in that. Noarlunga as well have had a couple of decent results over the last probably 5 games as well, so they can even progress a bit further into the 5th position as well. But yeah, as you said, those point deductions really did hurt a couple of teams in the north there. But as you can see there, Salisbury Inter didn't really throw them too much. Their early results were good enough, and they finished off with some quite strong form enough to keep that position as well. I think it's going to be a great clash between Eastern and Mowbray Vista. I did watch some of that game as well on Friday night. It was a bit interesting as well. I mean, Eastern did win the league, and they didn't get the trophy or the medals, but they were singing a song after a 0-0 draw. I don't know about that. I don't know. I mean, it's obviously big for the club. First league title, I'm pretty sure they've had. but they did go down 10 men, and they sang the song after a draw. But either way, I think it's great for them. And I think, unfortunately for you and me, David, the guy who got sent off was Daniel Pauly for Eastern United.
Oh.
But we did see that the debut or the re-debut of Soy Sakani for Eastern United as well. His first game, he looked a little bit rough, I think. Trying a couple of his flicks, and Trevellas didn't quite come off on that dodgy pitch there at Adelaide Uni at night time. But otherwise, I think it's been an entertaining league between these two, and I think the most entertaining is yet to come when these two clash either side to either side. I think this is where we're really going to see how far the disparity is, or how close it might be in actual fact as well. But I think it's been good. I think one of the ones I have to shout for as well is Seaford. They've had a great year this year. All three age groups. They've stayed in that middle pack, and I'm pretty sure I have to look at last year where they finished in the State League 2. But a lot of the teams are tipping that they probably have not as competitive a season as some of the other ones. When in actual fact they came very close to finishing above a relegated Western Strikers, and very close to some teams like Eastern United and Adelaide Uni who are hotly tipped this season. And they're kind of, I would say, back to where they've been in the past. I think it was 2023. They finished second in the league, and only missed out to Salisbury. So I think a big shout out has to go to them. And in the north, we expected some of those new teams to be in and amongst it. And you've seen those come to fruition in Salisbury and Adelaide Athletico. So
Before we move on to the WSL as well, it would be rude of me not to mention happy birthday to you on the weekend, Alessio. And you scored as well on your birthday. Not often many people get to that. And also your reserve side very much in contention for finals as well. I thought if you weren't going to mention it, I would. If you want to add on.
Thanks. I made sure, I didn't do this on purpose, but I knew that a couple of guys in the team knew it was my birthday, and I'm glad they put it in the group chat to mention it and get it hyped up a bit so the coach would start me this week. But and he left me on for the whole game as well, and I'm glad he did, because it took me long enough to score a goal. I sent you the video of the one I did score, but I might have to send you privately the one that I did miss, because it was probably one of the biggest misses I've ever had in my life. But
you're not supposed to admit that one, Alessio.
Well, no one can see it on here, and I've just got it in my camera roll. But I think it was great. Everything, all the stars aligned for me. Got to wear my favourite away kit. It was cold enough to wear long sleeves. Grass pitch, so I could wear my favourite boots. And I scored, and we won. So it was important for that. And now we're equal on points with Eastern United's reserves, and 2 goal difference ahead of them. So a big final day, and we're playing the top team, and Eastern United are playing the second team. So if anyone's free to give me score updates at halftime from Atherstone Recreation Reserve at 12:45, let me know, because I'll be ringing you at halftime.
Yeah, and I did say to you, Alessio, I think as well that if you do make the grand final, we will be there as as supporters for you only, and we'll bring posters with your big head and all that.
And I'll heckle. I will heckle.
I was going to say David's going to heckle.
But no, yes. Hope you had a lovely week.
I think I might have to try and find that video to put on here.
Hopefully, if you guys could be the commentators for it, because I forgot. Doesn't the advertiser do the?
Maybe.
Maybe I can't remember.
I don't know. They have in the past.
I have to get there first.
Sure. Yeah.
Or maybe have you mic'd up during the game as a sideline commentator.
You expect I'll be on the bench, do you?
With that, we'll move on to the WSL round 20. The Cove losing 6-0 to Western Strikers. Elizabeth Grove losing 1-0 narrowly to the Modbury Jets. Sturt Lions 2-1 over South Adelaide. And Modbury Vista, again, a little bit of a bogey team in Adelaide Jaguars, 2-2 there. So a very, very interesting thing we found on the weekend. The table, as it is, Modbury Vista still on top with 50 points, just only the one in front of Sturt Lions. So it will a little bit come down to the final day. I would imagine, I guess, David, I'll go into this, maybe a little bit of that stumbling block against Jaguars might play to the mind of those Vista players, but all they need to do really is win their game on the weekend, which in the form they have been this season, you would think would be an easy enough task, wouldn't you?
Football's a funny game, though, isn't it? Western Strikers are the opposition for Vista, and they have the opportunity to just absolutely mess the league competition up for Vista. But it's in Vista's hands. They are top. They're 1 point clear. Interestingly enough, Jaggers didn't finish the game with 11 players. Claudia Kennedy was red carded in the 61st minute. 2 goals for Jaggers from Chelsea Papalia in the 28th and the 60th minute. Caitlin Williams and Claudia Neubauer, I think I've pronounced that correctly with my German heritage, scored the 2 goals for Vista. But Jags were playing for 30 minutes with just the 10 players and still managed to get a 2-2 draw. There's a little bit of excitement, I think, around the Sturt players. I did speak to one of them at the following day on the Sunday. I think they played on Saturday, or I assume they played on Saturday. And there's a little bit of hope there, I think, for Sturt. They have got Modbury Jets next. Both teams have got to go out and win. And well, in Sturt's case, hope that Vista do slip up against Western Strikers. But the way they've been going, you wouldn't think that would be the case, but it's a funny old game, and it would be quite something to see the whole league turned on its head in that last round. So I'm not sure where those 2 games are being played, but I'm sure they'll both be trying to check in on progress. That's kind of it. The bottom 3 sides lost, as you mentioned there. Cove battered by Western Strikers, and Ben Dale's South Adelaide side just lost 2-1 to Sturt. So, top of the table versus second bottom. South scored in the 68th minute through Henkins after Sturt had scored through Barchese and Wakeling in the 35th and the 50th minute. So, again, we weren't at that game, but I don't know how that finished. South must have maybe thought they had a wee chance, with 20 minutes to go, and they pulled that one back. But yeah, it's in Modbury Vista's hands. But stranger things have happened, haven't they?
Absolutely. We'll very much be looking on the weekend to see those results as soon as possible. We'll go on to State League 1. Cumberland losing 2-1 to Vipers, a big win for Vipers there. Adelaide Blue Eagles beating Adelaide Blue Eagles, losing the Sturt Lions at Marden 1-0. South Adelaide and Fulham winning 4-1 in South Adelaide. Salisbury United and Adelaide Cobras, who have nothing to play for. Adelaide Cobras can't be relegated, can't make finals, yet still made Salisbury really battle for it. 3-3 there. Cove reversing almost that loss to Sturt earlier on in the season by winning 8-1 against Pontian Eagles, and West Adelaide with 2-1 over Adelaide Olympic, which in turn puts Olympic out of finals contention, which will take us to the table. Sturt, as we know, top of the table and promoted. Fulham and West Adelaide both will be battling for second this coming weekend. Salisbury look to be pretty much in fourth for finals, and Blue Eagles and Cumberland both play each other this weekend, which we'll predict later on, as well as the Cove also being in contention, depending on how that game between those 5th and 6th places go. At the bottom of the table, Vipers now 3 points in front of South Adelaide, but South Adelaide, well, they're both on exactly equal goal difference with -16. South Adelaide having to play Pontian, who, as you see, they're already confirmed relegated, and Vipers having to play against Adelaide Olympic. Again, another team with nothing to play for. So really, really interesting. We'll go into the final week later on. But David, I will go to you because you were at State League 1 once again this week.
I was, yeah. So I didn't have an NPL game, so I thought I'd go down to West Adelaide. I'll just talk about that in a minute. I just written a little summary here of State League 1. So just to almost repeat what you've said there, start with the 1-0 win over Blue Eagles. Gonzalo Rodriguez scoring the game's only goal in the 64th minute. Second place, Fulham had a 4-1 away win. And Ethan Murray, I mentioned for him, he scored a hat-trick in that game. Salisbury United 3-0. And I noticed in that game that Anthony Quichi scored twice. First was a tap-in from a free kick, and the second was a tap-in from a corner. So Quichi, deadly from 2 yards out. But 2 goals for him. So I mean, it doesn't matter how they go in, does it, in the end? Cumberland's 2-1. Lost 2-1 to Vipers, but that takes Vipers up and out of the bottom 2. Vipers, David Preka with an own goal in 12 minutes, and Solomon Islands player Mika Laffa pulled one back in 18, and he also had the assist for Vipers' second, which was scored by Austin Scambia Terra in 47 minutes. So prominent player there by Mika Laffa. Cove, 8-1 win over Pontiac. I was just going to mention they had 7 different goal scorers in that. Oikawa, Foglia, Carmichael, Alex Rideout, Owen Smith, Ollie Grant, JJ Rideout got 2. So they had 7 different scorers in that 8-1 win. But yes, to my game, West Adelaide. So this was an intriguing game because going into it, there were a few various scenarios that were all possible. But as the game progressed, it became apparent that if Adelaide Olympic lost this, they would not be playing finals football. Peter Katsambas opened the score in the 25th minute. Now, that goal was completely against the run of play. West Adelaide, for me, were the far better side through that first half of the first half, if that makes sense. And Katsambas' goal, he's obviously just signed as well to Olympic from West. So that set the tone for Olympic to just park the bus and defend. And I think they were hoping to make it from the 25th minute right to the very end of the game and try and get this 1-0 win that would keep them in finals contention. But Kikiana's own goal, which I thought had been scored by Cato, I think at the time I called it by Cato, came in the 75th minute, which meant for the last 15 minutes of the game, Adelaide Olympic had to try and get the winner, essentially. They were 1-1 and they needed the winner. And they just piled everything forward. But West Adelaide, for me, were the better team throughout the night. And as you saw just at the end there, every single Adelaide Olympic player gone up for that final corner, which was taken in the 95th minute. And the corner came in, was cleared, and James Odenwalder knocked the ball with his head. The footage is gone now, but he knocked the ball on with his head and sprinted through open goal because Cosmo Groff, along with the other 10 outfield players, had all headed up to the other end for the corner. So James Odenwalder scored in the break. But what a finish, you know. I mean, the first 25 minutes until the goal scored was quite entertaining. From the 25th minute mark until the 75th minute mark was really, really dull, hard to watch because Olympic just were holding on for that 1-0 win. And then when that goal went in, the last 15 minutes, ended up being 20 minutes, were absolutely outstanding. It was great to watch. And young James Odenwalder scoring the goal at the very end. Now, interestingly enough, his father is a member of Parliament. Did you guys know that?
Yes.
And he'd shared it on his social media. His father had, I forget his name, is it Lee Odenwalder, the MP? I can't remember his name now. That's a bit embarrassing. Yes. But he'd shared the footage of his son's goal on there with my audio recording. The sound wasn't great at West Adelaide. If you were watching it, I apologise for that. I had a camera operator who was a very nice chap, but just lacked a little bit of experience. I think he'd only been doing a few games. So thanks for being there, but the audio wasn't great, so I apologise for that. It wasn't me, as we say. I spent all of my school life saying that. It wasn't me. So that's your State League 1 roundup. Does that cover everything for you, gents?
Hey, Mark, Alessio, you want to add anything on?
I was just going to say, when you said you can see all the Olympic players piling on back after that corner goal, you can also see Neil McGahey as well, who's coming right in front of the camera.
Play it again. Actually, play the last goal. Play it. I missed the goal because I was too busy. I try not to watch the footage because it confuses me. But yeah, so there's the corner in. And then just booted clear. And then young James Odenwalder, he's looking for it. He doesn't even know where it is. And then he knocks it on his head beautifully. He's got an open goal in front of him. He runs all the way through. Doesn't matter how heavy his touch is there. He's just going to tap it in. And then he turns away.
Yes, close as possible, though. Made sure not to risk it.
And Neil McGahey's missed it all because he's walking along in his suit along the front here. You see him just emerging into shot. And I just looked it up. It is Lee Odenwalder, member of the South Australian House of Assembly. So that's James's father, and he'd very proudly shared that on, and rightly so he should. I thought young Odenwalder didn't get a start. He came on. The rest of the few players, West Adelaide, they've done that a couple of times over the last few weeks. Players that I sort of expected to be out in the park from the start. So James Odenwalder, Rovu Boyers didn't start. Ethan Nassau didn't start. And I've covered a couple of West Adelaide games, so I'm a little bit familiar with them. But those three anyway would have been regular starters, all rested on the bench. So maybe they're already thinking about. They'd already qualified for finals, so maybe they were focusing on that.
Thank you for that, David. Mark, Alessio, happy to move on. I think David did a very good job. Yeah, well done, David.
You with NPL, I didn't see any of that.
But you did see WMPL, so we'll go on to that next. West Adelaide beating Campbelltown City 3-0, but Campbelltown still qualifying for finals. An interesting night there. Salisbury Inter really just relegating City even more so. A 6-0 win for Salisbury Inter as City go down to the WSL. Uni with a 2-1 win over Football SA wasn't enough to take them out of the relegation playoff. Flinders and Metro 3-all, a pretty interesting one there. And Comets and Burkalla was sort of the one, as well as that Uni NTC game, which sort of qualified Campbelltown for the finals series. Looking at the table, West Adelaide undefeated as well. That's a big achievement. We'll talk about in a second. Comets confirming second, into third, Metro fourth, and Campbelltown fifth. Pretty dramatically on that final night. Burkalla and NTC, as spoke about earlier, just missing out. Flinders and Uni were sort of, well, they were playing back-to-back, which I think was, I guess I'll go to you on that, David, in a second, about how that experience was, I guess, knowing each other's results. And then Adelaide City, as we know, being relegated a couple weeks back now. I guess I'll start off. I won't. It was a bit hard because I was at Kilburn for West Adelaide versus Campbelltown City. A pretty standard, regular West Adelaide performance. I think we expect from them by now. Clinical, well drilled, what you expect. And all goals scored in the first half, as they were in the game. I think you commentated as well earlier in the season, David, between Campbelltown and West Adelaide at Steve Woodcock. So, especially in commentary, it did become more of a game second. What's happening around the place first? I think was certainly the mindset that we took, rather advertently or inadvertently. We also had a massive crowd of Campbelltown City supporters to our left. Matty Lara's dad as well was to the left of us as well, very active in his support. All the pointing, all the supporting and yelling out. It was very funny to watch. And also
big gloves with pointy hands, did he?
And then also quite often they're not people coming up to our glass box at Kilburn and try to see what the results are in the other game for the consequence of Campbelltown. But I guess overall a really interesting experience and a really fun time had, especially in that sort of last 20 minutes during and after the game. It was really entertaining. But I probably didn't emphasize it enough as I should have on commentary, but West Adelaide undefeated, a remarkable achievement. Probably one of the best WMPL sides, might be saying it a bit early without finals, but already one of the best WMPL sides in terms of consistency, quality, general team. And you heard earlier, they only have one A-League player really in Emily Hodgson, and she has only played maybe the second half of the season. I guess, Mark, I'll go to you on this as a general topic. Just outstanding work done there over the past few years as well. Last year, the year before, under Costa, the team in general, and I guess Nina Yamada, no words can really be said that haven't already been.
Exactly. Nina needs to be A-League, WA League, Women's A-League, as far as I'm concerned. She's just too good not to be given the opportunity. But going back to West Adelaide, as you said, it's actually not just this year. It's been a process that they've put in place a few years ago, and it's been building to this. And going a season undefeated is probably the pinnacle of that process. So Costa's done a fantastic job there. He's built a team. He's had some great players come in. He's built a side that's not reliant on A-League players. It's a side that is a fully packed NPL team that are at the top of their game. It's as simple as that. And like I said, it's been a process that they've done for quite some time. So it's just amazing, to be honest. And that's all I can say about it.
Yeah, absolutely. David, I'll go back to you again. You were at Jeps Cross. An interesting experience, I can imagine, for you on multiple levels. You were on the back pitch, I think, commentating for the first time. And of course, you were back-to-back with another game which directly influenced each other. And I'll play the highlights as you talk about it.
Literally and figuratively, yeah. So I was allocated pitch 3 at Service FM and basically stood on the embankment underneath the scoreboard with Chris, our camera operator. But in the end, actually, it wasn't that bad an experience. There weren't any folk who were particularly close to us, and we were able to watch the game without too much distraction. Now I'm distracted by these highlights. So I'm going to talk about the highlights. So Millie Scott scored the goal that opened the scoring. A beautiful goal, I would say. Early on, she scored that in the second minute. Victoria Mansueto popped up, scored the second from across there. Then there were two, I would say, uncharacteristic mistakes, especially at this level, in the back line for Flinders, which allowed Coti Rojas to pop in and score in the 14th minute, and then she did so again in the 21st minute. So the scores were level at half time, but just that defending when you've got Coti Rojas prowling around is really something you've got to be more careful with, I suppose. So now I'm waiting for it to catch up. Coti Rojas again to score that. So that's it 2-2. Right, so now I'm going to move on to the second half. Cockgrove scored for Metro United in the 48th minute. And then a young kid, Lily Nichols.
Yes.
I haven't got my notes in front of me. Yeah, Lily Nichols, who was making her first WNPL start. So she's played a couple of games in the WNPL, but she's come off the bench and she's been playing mostly in the reserve. She's a 16-year-old, and she, for me, was she was my nomination for our team of the week, as you guys know. I just thought she was just one of these players in midfield that just had that spark. I mean, Coti Rojas often overshadows a lot of the players that she's playing alongside, and some of them get missed, but for me, Lily Nichols was a real standout, and I think Tom Monsignor has got a real talent in his hands there, and he'll be hoping to keep her, I would assume, for next year. But look, 3-3. Just to go back to the scenario, which is what I was trying to talk about at the start. The difference, the difference was a 4-goal margin. So Flinders United needed to make sure that they didn't lose by a 4-goal margin between their game and Adelaide Uni and Football NTC on the pitch that was being played in the game, and the pitch behind us that was being played concurrently. And obviously when Flinders went 2-0 down early on, and I think Uni scored first in their game, there was a 3-goal margin. So all eyes were on. It was quite exciting for those first 20 minutes until Coti Rojas popped up and spoiled it for everyone. But for those first sort of 15, 20 minutes, there was a 3-goal deficit between the two games. And at that point in time, had there been another goal scored either against Flinders or for Uni against NTC, Flinders would have dropped into that second bottom spot and therefore the WSL playoff game. So it was really exciting at that point in time. But then, Coti Rojas popped up and scored those 2 goals in the 14th and 21st minute and just spoiled everybody's fun. But yeah, look, the quick summary is entertaining game. I think Millie Scott's goal was one of the best I've seen, certainly in a long time. Lily Nichols was an absolute standout for Flinders. Remember that name going into next year, because she's obviously not going to be playing finals. The season's done now for Flinders. And the experience of commentating on an embankment with spectators around me wasn't as bad as I was dreading it might be.
No, perfect. Mark, Alessio, anything to really add as we have that final look at the table as the season ends and we go in the finals?
Alessio, you got anything?
No,
I was just going to say, go on.
Yeah, I think it's covered all. I thought Campbelltown making it in there was a great second half of the season. Really goes to show what good recruitment can do. But yeah, it's also good to see Metro United charging on this year and actually making a big push for finals, and a really difficult team to play in that too.
Not finishing 6th. Mark?
I was just going to say the game between Adelaide Uni and what will be either Sturt or Modbury Vista is shaping up to be an absolute belter of a game already. In the fact that I think this could be a real opportunity for that WSL team to finally win that promotion playoff game.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to that one as well. Very much. Yes,
just
David.
One more point. I was at a community game on Sunday, and there were some passers-by there who had recognised me and came over for a chat. And they suggested something to me, which is maybe a little bit of an elephant in the room in terms of Campbelltown's acquisition of players. And they were suggesting that they felt that, Campbelltown are only there because they brought these players in from the A-League. And I can't remember exactly how it was termed, but the suggestion was, bought a finals berth. To that, I said to them, replace bought a finals berth with investing in women's football locally. Yeah. And it's a completely different statement. And for me, I think Campbelltown deserve to be there. It doesn't even, compute with me that they've bought a finals berth. I think they've made the right investments. It also detracts from the coaching staff there and the job they've done there. And the fact that when I went out to watch them at Adelaide City, they hadn't won a game. That was their first win. I was covering that game. They came out and they just had such a positive attitude. They were just such a breath of fresh air that I utterly refute any suggestion that they've done anything other than manage the team well. And don't forget, Claudia Jenkins played for Campbelltown before. She's returned to an old team, So for me, well done, Campbelltown, for sneaking in there at the end. And I refute any suggestion that it was done in any kind of nefarious way.
Yeah, and I suppose to finish off on that, with all due respect, would you rather have a team like that is investing, or from what we've seen from Adelaide City in aspects, they've gone down and perhaps not had the investment and recruitment that they would have had in previous years?
Or Fulham.
100%. That's another, I think, counter to definitely add on to. I agree. It's only a good thing. We will move on to the men's MPL, and I guess continuing to talk about Campbelltown. They beat Croatia Raiders 3-1 on Friday night, which in turn relegated Croatia Raiders to State League 1. Adelaide City with a massive win over Adelaide United 4-0 at Adelaide City Park. Bocala 2-0 over Adelaide Comets. Modbury Jets having a big win over Playford 4-2, which they thought at the time and did keep them out of the relegation zone. But then Para Hills decided to go one better and beat FK Beograd late on a 3-2 at One Solution Park. Looking at the table, Metro Stars top and premiers. Adelaide City second just. Croydon third just. FK Beograd fourth just. Adelaide United still in contention for finals. United, Bocala, Campbelltown, Playford, the four competing for those final two spots in finals. Comets, another team which can't get finals and also can't be relegated, so they can be pretty cruisy, I think, at this point. And Para Hills, 3 points in front of Modbury Jets, but with a much harder draw, having to play Metro next week, whereas Modbury Jets having to play Adelaide United, who aren't in top form as of right now. Alessio, I'll start with you. You were at Croatia Raiders to witness what ended up being sort of their relegation.
Yeah, I think it's just the story of the season, and I think a little bit of it, I could say, has been because the new coach has come in and changed things up that really hasn't gone to plan. I'm not sure if he has. I think he might have won one game when they beat Modbury late on there at home, but it just seems like a changing of the guard. He's obviously giving young people a chance, which is always something we like to see. But if it's sometimes, I don't know how to say it, not to the detriment of the team, but it just doesn't seem to be working, and he still persists with it. I was talking to some of the Croatia Raiders players on the bench. They were on the bench in the game, or injured, or didn't play in the game on the weekend on that game, and they said he's just going with young players. That's what he wants to do. We're not in his plans, so we're going to probably have to go next year. So, yeah, I think it'll be a big change up in the squad. I think, obviously, you'll probably keep a lot of these youngsters because they're getting game time as well when they leave. But I think the more experienced players, the ones who are not in favour this year, we've obviously seen some move midway through the transfer as well. They'll have to go. But for Campbelltown, it's just what they needed. I mean, it probably got a bit harder than they expected after that first half. It was 0-0 and very little chances. Croatia probably keeping them in it. And I thought that to start the second half, they were unbelievable. Nick Graves, especially, coming off the bench in the 20th minute to the injury of Boffa. He came on and was electric on that wing. I reckon he got two players yellow carded by just taking him out. Then he scored the winner. And I think actually it was him who got the header onto Marino for the second goal. So he was really involved in this game. And in true Raiders fashion, 15 minutes to go, then they started remembering how to play. And started going forward, having some chances, really turning it on to Campbelltown. There was a free kick just on the edge of the box that Uwineza had to take, and he just missed the post. But they took too long to get into games, and they've not done enough this season to even really have a fight of staying up. I mean, the other two, Modbury and Para Hills, they're fighting every tooth and nail to the last couple of games. But for Croatia, we could tell this was happening halfway through the season. They just couldn't pick up points. Tried to do it with a new coach. New team wasn't working, and it's too little too late.
Yeah. And on those other possible relegation candidates, I guess I will go next. I was at Ramsey Park for Playford versus Modbury Jets. Brilliant free kick, which I'm not entirely sure definitely did take a hit off Santiago Tavares, but it has gone down as his goal. I think in commentary we also say we weren't too sure, but either way, still once again a brilliant set piece from Playford, which we've sort of been accustomed to seeing. And in a way, it was sort of against the run of play, as you'll see here, a brilliant goal from Hamish McCabe, but just individual brilliance. I think I said in the commentary, and it absolutely was. And Modbury, you could see that there definitely was a fight in them that I don't think commentating them this season I'd really seen before. And I think I heard an interesting stat as well. Apparently, they've scored 8 goals against Playford this season. Sorry, and I think, don't quote me on this, but I think that is almost just half of their goals this season entirely. I'm not sure if anyone has that stat exactly.
They've scored 22 goals.
Yeah, so that is just under half of their goals have all been against Playford, and they've both been 4-2 wins for Modbury, which is really interesting. But you could tell that there was definitely that fight step and a really good crowd, really healthy crowd. A lot of Modbury people, a lot of Playford people, as we do expect. All in all, just a very entertaining game. And we probably were caught a bit off guard, sort of by the performance of Modbury and not expecting it. But again, just really professional, and I think the group really came together. This was a brilliant goal, which doesn't. This goal wrap doesn't tell the full story. It comes back from a ridiculous piece of unorthodox defending where the player was on the ground and he had to almost poke it away. Jesse Francesca run almost the length of the pitch, and then in the end made such a smart decision just to cut it back and let it the easy tap in come. But really just entertaining, and of course does make the final week even that better, especially with that Para Hills game against Beergrad, in which, Mark, I will go to you to talk about. How are these segues?
Yeah, it was great. The one thing with Modbury, that performance is what we kind of expected to see from them all year.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what we've been accustomed to the last couple of years. So it's a bit sad that it's come this late in the season. So I was at the FK Beergrad Para Hills game, and it was FK Beergrad's off day for them, to be honest. They weren't at their best. That's Anna Smith. I've looked at that multiple times. They were complaining it was a handball, and I've slowed it down, and to me, it looks like a handball. Once slowed down, and even at full speed, it still looked a little handball. That looked like handball. And then a mistake there from Cooper Nunn, who has been fantastic for FK Beergrad all year. Hussein pounced on that. And then it was a different side of the second half. We saw the FK Beergrad come out a little bit better. They were a different side. They were putting Para Hills under a lot of pressure. 2 goals, one from Maxim Ivanovic, who we sort of come to expect to come off the bench and score of late. I think that's his 6th goal of the season. All of them off the bench. And that was a great finish too. It was up against it. They also had a penalty shout turned away. And this was Falco's goal. Beautiful hit, beautiful finish, which made it 2-2. Grandstand finish for the last 13 minutes. And like I said, penalty shout was turned away. And if you get a chance to look at it, I thought it was a foul. Like you could clearly see his shirt completely pulled in the box. So I thought that was a penalty. But Para Hills, again, a mistake from FK Beergrad cost them this game. Like I said, it was mistakes that cost them the second goal, and an unfortunate mistake there from Signorello, who'd been faultless in that game up until that point himself. And Katsagiannis, again, scoring late for Para Hills, which puts them back out of the relegation zone by 3 points now. So it's a big week next week when we look at those fixtures shortly.
Absolutely. David, I know you didn't watch, but is there anything you do want to add to the NPL? You're muted, by the way, David.
I'd just like to ask Jordan O'Doherty Gavros to correct his name, because I've been calling him Gavros for years and he needs to change it. Please. Thanks, Jordan.
I was going to say, Seb, while we're at it, the other game that piqued my interest was Bacala beating Adelaide Comets 2-0, which pretty much ended Comets' finals berth. And it's the first year since 2015 that Comets haven't been playing in finals football this time of the year.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's been a
go.
long time. And just going to say, Classon Thomas again, he got a brace. Really, I've watched a lot of the Bacala games this season because it's close to home and it's easy to get to commentate on a Friday night. And he's been excellent most games I've watched. He's still a young kid, so he's going to have a bit of inconsistencies here and there, but certainly one to keep an eye on moving forward. Knows where the goals are. Big, strong, can hold off players. I've been really impressed with most of his games, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do moving forward.
That was exactly what I was about to say. Shout out to Dylan Clarkson for scoring once again. Yeah, ridiculous end of the season he's had.
Yeah,
season as a whole, to be honest. We will go on to our predictions, in which I will hand this over momentarily to Mr. Alessio Carocci.
Yes, Seb. Another good week all round. 10 plus points for everybody again. Another 20 plus pointer for someone in the table, and it really did move things about a lot as well. We'll go with Seb, who had 2 perfect results this week. He picked the Uni Women's win and the Seaford win. Mark had 3 perfect results this week. He had West Adelaide men's, Sturt, I think that's women. No, Sturt men, and Comets women. David and I didn't have any, but we both picked up, of course, over 10 points. That makes the leaderboard now. Seb, 403. Mark in second, 385. David in third, 380. And myself in fourth, 379.
Don't want that wooden spoon.
Very interesting. And when we do get to the WNPL predictions in a moment, I will also be able to reveal how close our table predictions were and how many points we've gotten for those.
Add on.
Yeah. So we'll start off State League 2 North. The game we'll be predicting, as I'm just getting them up here, will be Salisbury Inter versus Gawler Eagles. As we said earlier, not too much writing other than positionally, basically, where these two teams will finish, whether it's third or fourth. So, with that said, what are we thinking?
Salisbury into 3-1.
Salisbury into 2-1.
Oh, I thought you were going to think a little bit before I was able to get them up.
Who's the Salisbury into verse?
Gawler. Okay, speak again, but I'm ready now.
Salisbury into 3-1.
Okay.
Salisbury into 2-1.
All right.
Salisbury into 3-2.
I will also back Salisbury Inter to win 2-0. State League 2 South, Hills Hawks versus Adelaide Titans.
I thought you might go the derby.
Oh, yeah, there is that. Do you want to do that instead?
We'll do the derbies this weekend.
We'll do the Southern Derby instead. Seaford versus Noarlunga. I'm going to go for a Seaford 3-1 win.
Seaford 2-1.
Seaford 2-0.
I'll actually go for a draw, 2-all.
Just trying to be different, David.
Yeah. Don't want that wooden spoon.
Yeah, true. In the WSL, I actually did pick the Southern Derby, South Adelaide versus Cove, 2 teams at the bottom of the table. I'm going to go for a South Adelaide 3-2 win there in the WSL.
4-1 South.
I'll go for South as well. I think they'll get up there and it'll be 3-2.
I'm going to go 2-0 Souths.
Very, very good. State League 1 for finals, Cumberland versus Blue Eagles.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm at Cumberland.
Still so much riding. There's so much riding on this weekend for State League 1 still.
Yeah.
Finals, there's 3 teams going for finals and 2 teams looking at relegation. Woo! I'm going to go...
I don't know.
I'm going to go 3-2 for Blue Eagles.
Okay.
I'm going to go 2-all draw.
I'll go for draw 2.
And then I'm going to pick Cove to win.
Yeah, I would as well.
What did you say, David?
Yeah, I'm going for a draw as well. I'll go 2-0 as well.
Yeah, I'm reckon I'm going to go 1-1 as a draw. So 1-1 draw for me between Cumberland and Blue Eagles. WMPL, 2 finals. But as I said, we will look at our table predictions, which will come up on screen now. So the point system, if you get it exactly correct, you get 3 points. If you are one off either way, that is 1 point. If you are completely wrong by whatever margin, that is 0 points. So me and David, 8 points for the season, and Mark and Alessio with 11 points. 3 of us saying West Adelaide would win the league. David did not. That was the only position I got correct. David said NTC would finish 7th, which they did. Mark said West Adelaide would win, and also Campbelltown would finish 5th. And Alessio said West Adelaide would win, and Burkal would finish 6th, which they did. The main pattern I see here of us getting wrong is mainly Adelaide City, and also we all got Metro completely wrong.
Yeah.
So
I told you it was the motivation we gave Metro by putting them there that they got into finals.
So yes, Alessio can add that on. You can even update us if you have the maths that quick enough, Alessio, on how that does for our predictions as a whole.
Well, I can tell you puts Seb on 411. David has taken back that wooden spoon to 388.
That's ridiculous. That is utter guesswork. How can you make a prediction before end? Moving on.
Actually, I will make a suggestion. David did make the very bold call that Campbelltown would make finals with a lot of rounds to go, and they're in the relegation zone. I would be happy to give David 2 points for that brave call.
No, that's
Well, the braver call is saying they'd do it in the start of the season.
yeah. No, you don't have to be that charitable. I'll avoid that wooden spoon without sympathy. Thank you very much.
So much.
I appreciate the gesture. I appreciate the gesture, but I refuse to accept.
Okay, just thought I'd try. Yeah, you don't want my help, that's fine. I'll remember that. We will go on to this weekend, the 2 finals. Metro United versus Campbelltown. Of course, these games can go to extra time and also a penalty shootout.
So these are both elimination games?
Yeah.
Metro and Campbelltown is. Comets and Inter, the loser gets a second chance.
Okay.
So starting off with Metro and Campbelltown, I think Campbelltown will win 2-2 at the end of extra time, but they would win on penalties.
Oh, man.
I'm going to go. I picked Campbelltown to finish 5th at the start. I'm going to stick with them. I'm going to go Campbelltown, and they're going to win 2-1 in 90.
I'm going to go Campbelltown, 5-3 in extra time.
Now, you know, if you're listening and you're from Campbelltown, you know that I need to avoid this wooden spoon. I'm looking after David first, so I can't go along with what everyone else is going along if I'm to make up ground. I'm going to go for Metro United in this one. And to Metro United, this isn't, I'm not necessarily picking you just because of that. I've got to play the other side now, haven't I'm going to go for Metro United in 120 minutes, 2-1.
Perfect. 2-1 after extra time.
Really
and then Comets versus Salisbury Inter. I'm going to back Salisbury Inter to win 3-1 in 90. This one's tough.
I think I'll also back Salisbury
Inter
in this one.
Yeah, all the
Service FM, yeah. I'm also going to back Salisbury in this one. I'll go for 3-2 in 90.
Let's see on Mark.
I'm going to go 3-2 Comets in extra time.
2-1 Comets, 90.
Okay. Completely split there. 2-2. Very much looking forward to those two matches. And then finally, in the men's NPL, Modbury Jets versus Adelaide United. Modbury need to win to try and avoid relegation. Depends on other results, of course, and Adelaide United needing to win to get finals, which is a certain as long as they win. I think Modbury are going to win.
I'm going Modbury. I'm going Modbury as well, Seb. I'm with you on this. I'm going to go 3-2 to Modbury.
Yeah,
I'm going to go.
I'm going to go.
I'm going to go Modbury win as well. I'm going to go 2-1. Sorry, Seb.
No, we both went 2-1. That's fine.
Yep, 2-1.
Alessio.
Mute, Alessio.
Oh, I wasn't even looking at my screen.
Right. Alessio's on mute.
Is that Service FM?
No, at Modbury.
I'm going to go 2-0 Adelaide United.
Spoiling the party, Alessio.
He's saying Modbury's going to be relegated.
Yeah, that is essentially what he's just said. Very, very interesting. Very much looking forward to this weekend all around the place. Before we finish off, where are we? I'm at Adelaide City and Adelaide Croatia Raiders, as well as Pontian Eagles versus South Adelaide on Saturday night, and that will be with Antonis Pagonis. And of course, a South Adelaide win, depending on Vipers, that could be a big win or a big result for South Adelaide. Where are you three?
I'm at,
if you remember.
I'm at Ellis Park, which is where I seem to always be.
My shot.
Ellis Park for me, Adelaide Comets versus Playford. The forecast is for 10 mil of rain though,
yeah,
so I have requested some kind of coverage, a tarp or something, because I honestly doubt I'll be able to do it if it's exposed. So that's where I'm tending to be. Whether I'm still there by 7 p.m. or 8 p.m., I'm not sure.
Mark,
I have the weekend off.
Go you! You get to watch.
Yes,
everything.
I will be watching, and just while people are watching, it's Friday night for the NPL.
Yep.
All the games are kicking off at 7:30. Which is why I can't get on a game, because I will be coaching my under 10s, and then Saturday, all the State League 1 is kicking off at 6 o'clock.
6 p.m. And then those two WNPL games are 12:30 for Metro and Campbelltown and 3 p.m. for Comets and Inter, from memory as well. And all State League 2, I think, is all at 3, Alessio, for the season?
It is, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. So I won't be on any games.
Alessio, finishing off with you.
I'll be at Campbelltown versus Beergrad.
Very interesting one there. Very, very interesting. Looking forward to this. I guess, so anything else to add? Thank you for the support this week as well. Had plenty of people come up to us, and me in particular, at Metro on Monday. If you haven't already, watch the little documentary that we created. It was fun to do, and I think it's also quite fun to watch as well. So thank you for the feedback on that, and hoping to do more across probably next season. It's probably a bit too late now. Probably don't have as much time, but hopefully next season a bit more. Anything from you three to finish off?
No, make sure you get out to these games on the weekend. Definitely those WNPL Final Series ones, as well as the first time offering. And then, by the time we see you next week, we'll probably have the fixtures ready for that first grand final of the State League 2. And make sure you get out to all these games on the weekend.
Mark, David?
I was just going to mention that there is actually Women's Community Cup games as well at Service FM. They are being played on Sunday, the 17th of August. Both of them are being played at 2 p.m. One's in pitch 3 and one's in pitch 2. The pitch 2 game is West Adelaide's Community Division 1 side. We'll be playing Pembroke Old Scholars from also from Division 1. Pembroke runaway leaders, think of that division. And then the other semi-final, Flinders United's Division 1 side, will be taking on underdogs, but hopefuls, FC Summit's Division 2 side. So that's on Sunday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's West Adelaide and Pembroke, and Flinders versus FC Summit. I
imagine you'll be there to watch as well, David, in showing your support.
I might be there, yeah. I haven't seen the squad news, so I don't know if my daughter's playing, but my cousin's daughter will be playing in the West Adelaide team, so I'm going to try and get out to there, but it does clash with, it's my mother's birthday, and so I've got an obligation to It's not an obligation I'm detesting. It's an obligation I'm embracing. So I've got my mother's birthday that day. She's going to be 91. So I might have to take her out.
Very good. As your son's in the background.
Apologies. My only other thing is, David, what single you got on show for us today?
Oh, yeah, single of the week.
Done, Mark. Well done.
As he
Appreciate
slowly
that. I really appreciate,
like the old man.
appreciate that. It is. So in the 80s, if you really liked a song, you would buy the 12-inch version, which was an extended mix. It was all the rage in those days. And so my single of the week is Duran Duran's 12-inch version of their smash single, Union of the Snake. And if my memory serves me correctly, the photographs they took for those for that album were taken in Sydney. That might even be Sydney in the background. So Duran Duran, Union of the Snake, 12-inch remix.
Not a fan of 7 inches, David?
No, 12 fine.
Yep, cool. All right, on that note, we'll finish off. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, David. Thank you, Alessio. Enjoyable as always. See you around the place. Say hi to us if you're at grounds. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Iron Brew. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week.
See you then.
Alex Mullen to make it 3-1 in the grand final. Puts in the penalty and wins the grand final for Campbelltown City.
No one attacks it. Comes back up to Fernandez. It's the goal. It's tied. And then Talisman's got another one. City back quick. Jay King. What a shot. My goodness me. Can't teach that sort of stuff. Sends it in. Keeps it low. And it's gone in. It's gone in. Adelaide Uni have scored in time added. Tries to get under control, and the shot from Tolland. Salisbury into a 2-0 up. Still Butler with another chance. It's 3-1 to Playford. Persistence has paid off for Playford.
One touch the keeper, puts it into the bottom corner. Beach gives him a shoulder after that as well. He's lost his clean sheet, and he's lost his head with a red card. David, this is massive.
Skills to make the girls sing and the geezers too. Yeah, we're doing this thing.